All right, chapter 2, Locked in Pain, Confronting My Father's Rejection. The reason I call this one Locked in Pain because as you'll see in this chapter, if you read it already, this is where that one summer when I went to visit my dad, when he locked me in the room, so I call this Locked in Pain. I didn't have an opportunity. You know how sometimes when there's a confrontation, somebody says, let me go get some air, just to get a breather, just to, relax a little bit and get their mind together. In this case, when he was upset with me for whatever reason and taking his anger and frustration out on me and then locked me in a room, I didn't have any escape in that moment. So I sort of had to, take it all in and be locked in that room to deal with it and process it the best way I could at that young age. So let's start off page 19. From a young age, I carried an invisible weight, the ache of not feeling fully accepted by my father. There was no scars on my skin, but my soul bore the bruises of neglect, misunderstanding, and rejection. Something in me always felt unwanted in his presence, as if I had to tiptoe around his expectations. That summer in Maryland, when I was around 9 or 10 years old, confirmed the pain I had quietly carried for years. And parents, if you're reading this, I want you to know that your kids are more in tune, more intellectual, more aware than you may think. Some things that you may think they're not picking up on, they do pick up on. I was able to pick on this from a young age, and even now, with me being a father, there's a lot of things that my children pick up on that I'm not even aware about until maybe a few weeks later, where they may mention it or bring it to me or reference something that I did or some way that I acted that sent some sort of message to them. Okay? Now let's see. Let's go to page 20, second to the last paragraph. The speaker failed again. I heard him yelling my name, that deep, thunderous voice booming with rage. Yeah, there were times, even though I only really visited him, just for the summer months, the summer weeks, when he would get upset, it would really scare me and startled me. One, because nobody had ever told or yelled at me that way. So, it was always, and typically men have a more thunderous, bold, deep voice. And when I say he was angry, I mean he was angry. All right, let's go to page 21. As laughter and music filled the house downstairs, I trudged up the steps, shoulders heavy with shame. Then he burst through the door, still yelling, still cursing, still blaming. He told me to pack my bags, that I was going home, that my brother could stay, but I had to go. He called me names that stung like lashes. Yeah, and what was funny is that I remember, like crying so much to the part where I was like sobbing. And I remember trying to process everything all in one moment, trying to figure out why, what did I do, and also trying to figure out what was wrong with him and why he was so upset with me.